All right, not to sound like a broken record, but Wyze has come out with another product. But this time it is not a camera, this time it is a robot vacuum with a LiDAR sensor built into it. I've also been using this vacuum for about a month now. So in today's video, we're gonna be taking a look at the vacuum and what features it offers and see if it is worth the price. So stay tuned. Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. So if you are not familiar with the Wyze brand, they initially started with smart home security and now they're kind of branching out into everything. The company's reputation is kind of known for making good quality products at a really affordable price. And they just recently launched their new robot vacuum. Now, while this vacuum is good, it still needs a little bit of work, but we're gonna be covering that in a little bit. First off, I want to start talking about some of the features with this vacuum. So the biggest selling point with this vacuum is going to be its LiDAR sensor. This is typically something that you're going to see on $500, $600, $700 vacuums, but we're seeing it here on this $250 vacuum. In addition to that, we've also got things like individual room mapping. It's got a 4-core processor, which is going to allow for better path planning. So you're going to get the most efficient use out of this vacuum. It also advertises that it goes in straight lines, which you might think is kind of weird to brag that it goes in straight lines because you would think that's pretty obvious. But the vacuum that I'm currently using right now definitely does not go in a straight line. It definitely goes at a diagonal, which is weird to watch. But going back to the features, this does have a suction power of 2100 PA. It has multi-surface switching, so it can go from hardwood to carpet that's up to 20 millimeters thick. And then we also have app control. Well, kind of. So in those $400, $500, $600 units that you're getting all of those features in, this is going to be a much more bare bones system. If we take a look in the app and we load up the vacuum, we see that we pretty much only have the option for cleaning or to start cleaning. Now this is going to be great if you want to vacuum the entire level, but what if you want to get certain areas? I found that there is no way in the app to control which way this vacuum goes. Like with other vacuums that I have tested in the past, through the app, it's got a remote control, so you can actually point the direction of where you want this vacuum to go. If there's a heavy area or an area that you want to clean, you can do that through those apps. As of right now, at least, you cannot do that through the Wyze app. And there is one thing that I want to mention. This vacuum did just come out. So there are definitely going to be some features that are coming down the road and some bugs that I'm kind of dealing with right now that will probably not be an issue in the future. So do keep that in mind during this review and with some of the things that I bring up. Taking a look at the vacuum, the top is a nice clean look. We've got the LiDAR sensor in the back, and then in the front of it, we've got 2 buttons, one for power and one for returning the vacuum back to the docking station. If we lift up the lid underneath that, we've got the dust bin that has a HEPA filter. We've also got a cleaning tool, which I have used a few times so far and has been very helpful. I also really like that the cleaning tool is in the vacuum because with vacuums that I've tested in the past, typically I set these aside and then forget where I put them. So I like that this one is right next to the dustbin inside of the vacuum. Now this vacuum has a total of 7 sensors on it. We've got the LiDAR sensor on the top. We've got a front-facing sensor on the vacuum. We've also got this bumper plate right here. And then if we flip it over to the bottom, there are 4 drop sensors. We've also got some heavy-duty wheels on the bottom of this thing with some great suspension that has helped it get over a few things that I've run into downstairs, namely the high chair. There's a bar going across, and I have noticed that sometimes it'll get hung up on that, but with the suspension on these wheels, it does kick itself off, which is nice to have. I also noticed one thing on here is that this vacuum only has the 1 brush. This is going to be going along the edges, kicking everything that is along the edge into the center of the vacuum, so that way it sucks it all up. So when I got the vacuum, I tested it out downstairs first. And the reason for that is because I really wanted to see how well the LiDAR sensor worked around tables and chairs. Now the first thing the vacuum did was that it pulled out from the dock and then did a scan of the entire room, which was really cool to watch that LiDAR sensor in action on the app. Once that initial scan was done, it started doing a perimeter sweep. So it started getting along the edges of everything that was downstairs just to get an idea of what my floor design looked like. And after that, it started cleaning the rest of the floor. When the vacuuming was all done, I got a stat breakdown of how many square feet were downstairs that it vacuumed and how long it took the vacuum to do what it needed to do. Another thing to mention is that if you have a bigger area or the battery isn't fully charged and the vacuum gets down to, I think it was about 7%, it does return to the dock, charges back up, and then comes back out and finishes the area. So you don't have to worry about it running out of battery and not finishing the job. And after everything was done, I saw that it had divided my downstairs into 2 rooms, which is nice because later down the road, I can select each room and which one I want it to vacuum if I don't want it to vacuum everything downstairs. So as I'm working on this video, Wyze just released a firmware update yesterday. This update adds a new feature called Map Editor. So example for me, it was combining my kitchen and family room into room number 1. I want to divide those into 2 different rooms. So what I can do is I can actually go in and split the room. When I do that, it's going to divide it into 2 rooms, which is a great feature. In addition to that, you can also set up virtual walls or no-go zones. So these are going to be areas that you're going to highlight in red, and that is something that the vacuum will not go into. So a new feature that I've been seeing on some of the higher end vacuums is multi-floor mapping. And while this vacuum doesn't map multiple floors, I wanted to see if I could use it on multiple floors. So I did bring it upstairs, even though it has the downstairs mapped, and I set it in the middle of my bedroom. I then started the vacuum. It did the full perimeter. It did all the edges, and then it went through and it vacuumed the entire floor. When it was done, because there was no base station on that level, it returned to the spot that I had set it, and then it turned itself off. So you can use this on multiple floors, it just won't be mapping individual floors. So even though the vacuum did a good job and it cleaned the area that I needed to, and it stayed out of its no-go zones, I did have a few problems with it. First off, the vacuum was pretty loud. Initially when I set this up, I tried to have it run in the middle of the night so that way everyone was sleeping and I could just have this thing run downstairs. But I will say for the 3 nights that I tested out, it woke me up every single time. Now my bedroom is not that close to the stairwell coming upstairs, but I could easily hear it downstairs, and like I said, it actually woke me up in the middle of the night. So we immediately had to redo that schedule and have it run during the daytime. The only problem is, my wife and I are both trying to work from home during the daytime, and she didn't like it running during the daytime because it was just too loud around her being downstairs to try to work. So it did cause a lot of problems of when are we gonna run this thing? I mean, essentially we're home all the time now. Now, I will also mention that downstairs is not carpeted, which I know will help with the sound, but it was running on our laminate floors. It also does have 3 suction levels: standard, quiet, and strong. I tried to go through all the different levels as I was listening to it upstairs in the middle of the night, maybe thinking that quiet was just gonna be a little bit better, but I will have to admit between quiet and standard, I didn't really notice much of a difference at all. When I did put it on strong, I could tell it did get louder, but as far as sound, I didn't notice a big difference between the quiet and the standard. Lastly, another feature I felt this vacuum was missing was spot cleaning. So like with other vacuums that I have tested in the past, there is the ability to set up spot clean. So even though it doesn't have the remote and I can't steer it in the area I want to, I would like to be able to pick up the vacuum, set it in an area maybe that's extra dirty or something got spilled, and I would like to be able to do a spot clean. Now when I tested this with the Roomba a couple of years ago, when I did a spot clean, it'll start just going in circles and slowly get bigger and bigger and bigger, cleaning that area. I wish they had that feature with this vacuum right here to be able to do a spot clean. Another thing that I noticed is that with other vacuums that I have tested, they have auto power levels. So if it detects that a certain area is dirtier than others, it can control the suction of the vacuum and even slow down and up the power level if needed. That is a really cool feature that I like and that I would love to see in this vacuum right here. So now the big question, is the vacuum worth the money? This thing is retailing at $250. I pre-ordered it, so I got it for $199. But with the price point at $250, I think that this vacuum is fairly priced, which is a little unusual for Wyze because they usually underprice their things. Like I mentioned before, usually get a great deal with their products right here. Because this vacuum is currently missing a lot of the features that I mentioned, I will say that I think it's fairly priced. If those features come down the road, this is definitely going to be a vacuum that you're going to want to pick up. Also, as I see features coming out, which is kind of typical of Wyze, that they will release new features with their products, I will update the description and a comment below so you guys know what features have been coming to this product. Well, from what you guys saw, is this something that you're gonna be picking up, or is there another vacuum out there that you like better? Also, if you currently have a robot vacuum, let me know in the comments below what you guys are currently using and your thoughts on it. If this video is helpful, give it a thumbs up. Let me know that you liked it. As always, don't forget to subscribe for more content like this, and I will see you guys in the next video.